Hi Tay. Without loss of generality, I'd like to talk about complacency. Surprise, surprise, my thoughts are based on a book that I just finished by Tyler Cowen called The Complacent Class. In it, he argues that Americans are becoming more complacent in how they move around the country and how they innovate different companies, and even how politics is becoming stuck. He offers a lot of evidence towards this thesis. For instance, in the 1980s, startups were 12 to 13% of the firms of the economy, but today they are only 7 to 8%. The median male wage was higher in 1969 than it is today. In the 1970s, there were over 1,200 protests erupting on campuses, whereas today, administrator appointments outpace faculty hires to minimize the chances of something going wrong. There aren't that many rags to riches stories anymore in the US. Jack Ma became the richest man in China in 2014, but he started out extremely poor. In 1962, about 2/3 of all federal government spending fell under the heading of fiscal democracy, meaning we could vote on it. But in 2014, that's only about 20%, meaning 80% is just a fixed cost, and we get to debate the other 20%. He says this is in stark contrast to Alexis de Tocqueville, who came to the US in the 1830s and wrote Democracy in America, and his basic portrait of the United States was of a land perpetually in motion. I can appreciate the evidence he presented and follow his arguments, but somehow it didn't ring true. I mean, the crowd that we run with, they don't seem very complacent. You know, these are all these high achievers from Stanford and MIT and Harvard. They never seem like they're just going to coast. We both have friends that constantly surprise us with what they can achieve. Plus, here in Silicon Valley, everybody changes jobs every 2 years. It's like a jungle gym. You're not climbing a corporate ladder anymore. You're just jumping from company to company. And that's in stark contrast to the statistics that he presents in the book, saying that switching jobs has actually gone down in the US. But maybe even in this crowd of overachievers that we run with, maybe there is some complacency hidden. More and more of our friends and acquaintances know that I'm going to be moving to Thailand sometime in the future. And so they want to know, like, well, John, what are you going to do when you get there? Will you be able to keep your job? Will you be able to work remotely, do some consulting? And I tell them, I don't know what I'm going to do. The future's totally up in the air. I might just be a student for a year. I might try to start something on my own. I might try to shoot off totally in a different direction. That usually elicits one of two reactions. The first is, wow, that's so cool. I never thought that anybody could do that. Good luck with that. And the second is kind of the flip of that, which is just complete disbelief. Wait, what? Like, how can you not work? How can you take time to figure things out? That doesn't make sense. And yeah, it doesn't make sense in this mode of working that we've all agreed upon, of job hopping and credential gathering. That's our own kind of complacency. Even though it's kind of a dynamic complacency, it still is just one way of thinking that you go from job to job, building up your 401k, paying down your 30-year retirement, living in an expensive city in the United States. But this move to Thailand busts that paradigm completely. So I want to say thank you, Tay, for helping me avoid asymptoting towards complacency in the US, and I look forward to all of our adventures all over the world in the future.